Hey guys, Lord here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Marvel Legends SDCC 2024 and or fan channel exclusive Death's Head 1. This course is brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, as well as my good buddy Evil Villain, worked out a trade with me so I could get my hands on this guy. So as always, I will leave a link in the description below to his Instagram. Head on over there, give him a follow, let him know Overlord sent you. But as always, don't be a jerk face, or you won't like the consequences, I assure you. That said, if you had told me many years ago that we were going to get a Marvel Legends figure of this guy, I'd probably think you're full of crap. That said, here we are. So, I guess I'm full of crap. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Mr. Death's Head has to offer in terms of accessories, because he does have quite a few. He's got a pair of fist hands, which unfortunately that's all you get for the hands. You do not get two grip hands, which sucks. But you do get two fist hands with a ton of flashing on them. I had to chip off, but whatever, I guess. Better than chipping off paint, I suppose. Setting this aside. You also get his little golden shield, which has 3 clips, and a handle, which is kind of gummy. And I will say, this does not peg into his back as deep as I would like. It does stick out a bit, but I guess you could cut some of this off. I'm not going to do that. But you do get these 3 clips here. If you're familiar with like Transformers ball socket plastic, that's kind of what we're working with here. But he does have his spiked mace. That thing will do some damage. It's actually kind of pointy too, but you could clip this one in right there. These clips have some give to them. I wouldn't crank yank on them. They do have some give to them. I like to slide these up a bit, like that. And we also have his axe, which is a little gummy compared to the other weapons. The other weapons appear to be hard plastic kind of handles with a soft PVC, not really soft in this thing's case, but a softer PVC on the actual weapon head itself. But the axe can clip in over here, like so. Giving you the cool silhouette that the 3 3/4 inch one had, which I do have, but it's on the shelf, and I am not digging that thing out. But there you go. I was just kind of adjusting it there. See, he's got the axe, he's got the spike ball, and then last but not least, he's got a freaking missile. Now, I don't remember this. This was not with the 3-inch one, and it should be worth noting that also the mace can do this. The end rotates on this thing. And another thing you can do with these weapons, if we take him, we can pop off his open hand, and you can see the little peg there. Go right into his wrist, like so. Pretty easy. And it pops out pretty easy. I heard people are having trouble with this. I think y'all are just a bunch of pussies. I have not had any trouble with this. I could see the axe being problematic if it's like super gummy because of the heat, and the arm is super cold. Whoop. And the arm is super cold because of the cold, but other than that, man, I didn't have a problem swapping the weapons on this guy whatsoever with his hands. And again, it is pretty cool here in upstate New York there. But there you go. You can clip all 3 weapons to the shield and peg them on his back, which is pretty cool. That said, if we move this guy over a little bit and have a little bit of story time, let's take you back to Overlord Toy Reviews, my old channel, where I got and reviewed this guy right here. This is Death's Head 2 from the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Wave 2 It was the Mantis Build-A-Figure. He actually didn't come with a Mantis Build-A-Figure part. He came with a weird arthritis pointy finger. And as you can see, this new Death's Head is about the same height, I think, as this older one. The new one's got a little bit of height to him. A little bit more height to him. So it falls back a little bit. But, yeah, I think Marvel Legends has come a long way since Death's Head 2. I would like to see him brought back with some of the parts that this new Death's Head has. Which is weird to say the original version of the character is the new one, but it's true. Like, for example, this guy's arm is not as loose as some, but yeah, and then the knee's kind of warped there. I don't even mind that he's pinned. It's just that the knee itself is a little warped on mine, so he's a little tricky to stand. He's always been kind of tricky to stand. I don't know why. Like, his feet are flat on the freaking floor, and he's not, like, floppy loose. But boy, oh boy, he likes to go back for some reason. But taking a closer look at Death's Head 1 here, what a glorious figure this is. This is top 10 Legends of the Year, easy, possibly even top 5. He's got some spikes on his boots, he's got some spikes on his knucks there. He's got, I think, new gauntlets, unless they're carryover from some kind of Colossus, I don't know. The legs are pinless, they're not reused from the Destroyer, as far as I can tell, because they're a little skinnier. If they made this guy on the Destroyer body, he would have been even bigger, like, holy crap. He's got new boots, obviously, to go with the new legs. He's got a new belt piece. He's, of course, got the big arse cape set up, and it's plugged into the back here via probably some ports and some glue. And then we got this piece, which is a floaty piece in the front. I would have liked this to be tabbed down, but the reason they probably didn't do that so you could raise the arm up, not have as much trouble. I can appreciate that. I can respect that decision. And man, look at that head sculpt. So much character in that head sculpt. He's got these crazy tusks, which are a softer plastic, so you won't break them. His horns are not as soft, but they're pretty thick, so I wouldn't worry about those. The armor itself is kind of soft, but kind of thick in some places. This little chain clasp here is a little bit softer than, of course, the pauldrons, and then the cape feels like a different material entirely. But very, very well done. A lot of mixed mediums here, soft plastics, hard plastics, you know, whole 9 yards. But as far as his articulation goes, his head will rotate. He's got a little play on that ball peg, but he does have a disc hinge in the neck, so he can look up and down. He can tilt a little bit. Probably even pop his noggin off. Yeah, you can pop it right off. It's not difficult to do. So if you want to do a head swap for some reason with this guy, you can do that pretty easily. That said, it should be worth noting that Death's Head was a character that I think debuted in Transformers comics that were published by Marvel, or put out by Marvel, whichever, in the UK originally. But if you want one that's in scale with Transformers, I'd probably go with the 3-inch figure. He's like 5 inches tall, and I think that's a little closer to how he scales with the Transformers. I think a deluxe class is like 4 inches tall, so he's like the perfect height for that. That said, his arms can go out to the side pretty darn far, actually. But they are pretty tight, so I'm not going to push it more than that. It can rotate. It's got a bicep swivel that can go all the way around. No gumminess, really, on this guy. Single elbow, nice and tight. I will say this one is really tight on mine. Oh boy. I might even heat that a little bit. Just a little bit. He does have swivel and hinge in the wrist. That works fine. Popping this arm up. He does have an ab crunch that allows him to move 1 notch forward. I think 1 back as well. Yep. Actually, I had to work that in a little bit. He does have a waist twist. Not the tightest thing ever, but if you get the belt over it, it stiffens up. So if you shift the belt up, he can kick out. Not the farthest, but not the worst, I guess. It's a big dude. I don't know how far he needs to kick out. He's got a thigh cut. He can kick forward, kick back. I do believe he's utilizing the old Colossus hip joints down in here. So the 80th anniversary Colossus, I think that's where this is coming from, these hips. So they are not like the gummy thigh cut hips, which I do appreciate. It does have double knee, which is freaking tight as a monkey, but it's better that than loose. He's got a boot cut. It just kind of glides, man. I don't have to put like any kind of soap on this guy. This guy is great out the box. Ready to rock out the box. And then he does have an ankle hinge that goes pretty far back. Not a ton forward. And then, of course, has your rocker there. So a pretty solid Legends figure all around. I just might need to heat that one elbow. Oh, that one's pretty tight too. Let me try that one again. Yeah, you can definitely hear it. You can definitely hear it. That said, this wrist actually moves up and down. So that's pretty cool. Doesn't get a ton of range because of the gauntlet, but that should be expected. There is a peg hole on the back, as I mentioned earlier. You can plug the shield in like so. Before you do that, you probably want to make sure that missile is lined up with the back of his, well, the straight and narrow of his back there. You can get that in there. Center it. And push. Push it in as far as you can, and then leave it alone. Because like I said, the shield does kind of hang off his back a little bit more than I would like. But I'm sure some people have modded this guy to where that's not the case. I'm not going to do that. I like this figure as it is. Like I said, definitely top 10 Legends of the Year quality here. He is a solid offering from the line. Again, I cannot believe we have this character. Of all years this year, I mean, we already got Danny Ketch, we got Blackheart, we got freaking Lilith, and Damien Hellstrom, and Dracula, and Scar, and Jack-o'-lantern, and the perfect Jim Lee Sabretooth just about, and almost the perfect classic Venom. But before we wrap this thing up, bring in our two regulars, Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibolith. There, and the infamous Beloved Spawn, who is not towering over everyone today because Death's Head is a Deluxe figure. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and look, if you were to tell me that the Hasbro Marvel team was going to give us a Marvel Legends Death's Head a year or so ago, I would have dismissed your accusations faster than I dismiss any sort of national news network. I mean, that is straight up BS and not gonna happen. Yet here we are, and boy oh boy, what a glorious thing this Marvel Legends Deluxe Death's Head is, because the fine folks over at Hasbro's Marvel team went all out with this figure to the point where my only major gripes with it are the lack of a second grip hand, and the shield doesn't plug into the back as far as I would like. It does stick out just a tiny bit. Now, of course, if you are into modding your figures, you could probably tweak that. I'm not into that, so I'm not going to do that, but boy oh boy, top 10 Legends of the Year, no doubt about it. Not a single trace of doubt in my mind, in fact, to quote both the Monkeys and Smash Mouth. So, there you freaking go, sucker! Top 5, actually. We'll go top 5. I don't know if he'll make top 3, but top 5 for sure. That said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.